Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. So today I have another recommendations video for you, but today is going to be weird. Yes, because we're going to talk about weird books. And what do I mean with weird books? Basically, we're going to talk about those type of books that you're reading and you're just like, what is going on? That type of book. Because I don't know why, but lately I just found like so many of them. So today we're going to talk about those type of books. I've gathered a list of 10 books. I have more, which is curious to say the least. But yeah, we're going to talk about these first 10. Some of them I've talked about or will talk about on my weekly wrap up this week, but let's just get started. So the first one that I'm going to have here is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. This book. What is this book? I don't know. But basically, we're going to follow this exchange between these two women. It all started in a forum with a pillar, a potato pillar. And they basically start exchanging messages. It's a novel set in the 2000s, so it's just all through emails and instant messenger, which was a super cool touch. But basically they go into a master-slave kind of relationship. It's a horror book. And when it starts, you're just like, is this a horror book? It definitely is. Like, trust me, it is a fucking horror book. Holy shit. I haven't been disgusted by a book in a while. Like, it made me so uncomfortable. Like, so damn uncomfortable. But this book I actually really enjoy. So if you're into really weird shit, read this. I just cannot find something similar to it. Like, well, maybe if you like another book from this list, you might like this. But I don't think like is the right word for it. Then we have another really short novel. This is The Seep. And I grabbed this because it reminded me a lot of Jeff Vandermeer for some reason. I think it has actually a blur by Jeff Vandermeer in the cover, and that's why it sounds so familiar. But this is basically a story about an alien invasion. This is a sci-fi book, and it's weird because it's like a positive alien invasion. And it's basically a book about discussions on philosophy, what it's like to be human. There's a lot of books in this list about that. It's really weird. It definitely has its own niche type of thing. Like, it's not going to be a book for everyone. Some of my friends have actually really disliked it. And we have similar tastes, but they were just like, no for me. But I do really like the type of discourse in books. I don't know why. I just really enjoyed it in general. There's another book in this list that is very similar to this one. The Seep is weird. Humans have technology to just become children again, erase their memories and stuff like that. It's a lot, but it's really fascinating. I found this book super fascinating, especially at the beginning. Then, of course, we have this beauty here. House of Leaves by Mark C. Danilowski, which is the the book that started the epitome of weird, I believe. This is a very, very weird book. Like, some of his pages are blank. It's a book within footage. It's so convoluted and weird. You're basically mostly going to follow Johnny as he studies these notes that a guy named Sampano made about a found footage of a house that is bigger on the inside than on the outside. It's so weird. It has so many like weird touches, like words that are written backwards, and you have weird like the signs of pages. You're jumping back and forth. The word house is always on blue. It's so weird, but I actually love it. This is a kind of horror book. It does have a scene that terrified me a lot actually, but in general it's a mystery horror book. It's really weird. Definitely not for everyone, like every single book in this list. But overall, it's one of my favorite books of all time. I just really like it. I love weird media in books. Like, it has a lot of like, it feels like a textbook, and it has like different hints throughout the book that you can find. There's actually like a huge following dedicated to finding clues in this book. It's fantastic, and I really love that, but it is weird. Then we have here a book that I read. Was it this year? I think so. I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I loved this book. It's a mystery type of book. Can we call it that? Basically, we're going to follow a couple, and the main character, where we are in her head, she is deciding if she wants to just break up before going to his parents' house. It's so fucking weird. Like, I loved it. I couldn't stop listening to it. It's also quite on the shorter side too, but I swear, I was supposed to be studying for my finals and I was just reading this fucking book because I was so intrigued by it. It's so creepy and like, so many weird things happen, but they're kind of like in a second place and you're just like, you're aware of them, and that's more terrifying. Like, why isn't the main character acknowledging this? That's what makes it like so weird and so creepy in my opinion. But yeah, I love this book. I don't want to spoil anything else. I wouldn't watch the movie adaptation on Netflix. I think it was fucking terrible, honestly. I watched it thinking that it might just grant me some clarity upon the book, but no. This is a very recent read of mine. This is There Is No Antimemetics Division by QNTM. Yes, I love this little book. Basically, it reminded me a lot of the video game Control. It just jumps back and forward, and it has like censor pages because you are going to be following some members of the secret agency that fight against these things called anti-memes that block your memories and feed on them. It's just so weird. It's very like disjointed. The narrative makes no fucking sense sometimes. But it was so fascinating. Like, I loved it. I was just thinking about it a lot during the day, being just like, I really want to read this and find out what the hell happened. But damn, towards the ending, you're just like, what is going on? I don't understand a thing. But man, this was great. If you like really weird sci-fi, you're going to probably like this. And if you like any of the books in this list, like, you're probably going to really enjoy this. But the ratings of this book are super high and I 100% agree with them. More in the softer side, we have The Gone World by Tom Switterlicht. I always say it like in German, but it's not. It's Switterlich, right? Basically, in this one, we're going to follow a time traveler investigator. A murder happened in the 80s and this woman is kind of jumping to the future and back to figure out what the hell happened. There's also this thing apparently eating the future. It's really weird, but it's more accessible than any of these books, honestly. It makes more sense. Sometimes you're just like, wait, what? But then it comes very like greatly into focus and it makes sense. It makes sense. So quite different from these other books, but still quite confusing and quite what's just like, what is going on? I just don't understand. But The Gone World is fantastic. If you like something like Dark Matter and Blake Crouch in general, I think you're going to love this. Okay, before I forget, because I actually forgot to put this book in my what the fuck am I reading wrap up. Piranesi by Susanna Clark, I think is her name. I read this last month and I actually quite enjoyed it. You're basically going to follow this spin called Piranesi. He has always lived in this house and he has no memories and he's trying to figure out what the hell he's doing there. It's weird. It reminded me a bit of House of Leaves because of the whole concept of the house that we have in there. But the I'm forgetting things reminded me a bit of There's No Antimemetics Division. So it's a weird mix. But if you like House of Leaves, you're probably going to like Piranesi, even though it's much more lyrical than any of these books. If you just like more of our what is it called? Rose prose or something like that. But if you like more lyrical stuff, you're probably going to really like Piranesi. Then I have here not Firefall, but Blindside, which is the first volume because this is a bind up by Peter Watts. Holy shit, Blindside. It's one of my favorite books of all time, but what the fuck is this book? Sometimes I don't know. I feel like I should reread this month, honestly. Like, I read it exactly a year ago, and I feel like I should reread this because it was so good. You have like first contact with aliens, also vampires here, also aliens that you cannot see directly. So if you see them directly, you will not see them. You have to look up them like through here. It's just so weird. There's a lot of philosophical talks in here because apparently I love it. And I've been starting to slowly realize that. But it's so weird. It's definitely on the weirder side, but it's also a little bit more accessible than the first books in this list. It's great. If you like science fiction, you're probably going to really like this. Also, it's quite horror-y too, so careful with that. Then another philosophical book we have here, Skyward Inn by Aliyah Whitley. This is my ARC because I still haven't bought a physical copy because I'm just a bit lazy about that. I read this at the beginning of the year and I was so surprised by it. This is also about in kind of not alien invasion, but a first contact with aliens type of book. We know that the aliens exist here and we're going to follow our main character, and she basically has this inn where everything seems to be fine until one day something starts to go wrong because her partner appears with one of the aliens. It's just so weird, but the ending was so worth it. Oh my god, I was so shocked by it. Like, I was not bored, but I was just like, okay, it's more of a contemporary science fiction type of book, but the ending blew my fucking mind. Like, I was so into it in the last 50 pages. Like, what the hell is going on? So I really don't want to talk too much about it because I think the twist in the middle is amazing. So check it out for yourself. But yeah, I know a lot of people are hesitant to read this because yeah, it's very, very slow. Mostly it's contemporary science fiction, which is not something that I usually enjoy, but damn, this was really good. And the last one that I have here, of course, is going to be Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, which is, again, one of my favorite science fiction books of all time. It's so damn weird. Basically, we're going to follow this group of women that go explore this area called Area X that keeps expanding. So the government basically sent them. The previous expeditions went missing or they came back basically insane. Yeah, it's really horribly fascinating. What the hell is going on? The ending makes no sense type of book. I love it. I'm also a huge fan of the adaptation. I don't think like it's the greatest adaptation, but I think it did a great job of being like a very well told movie, even though it's not exactly the same, and some things also in the ending made a little bit of no sense. But that scene with the bear, holy fuck, that was fantastic. I mean, Annihilation is a very well-known book, but not that many people have read it. So try Annihilation. So those were basically all my weird book recommendations. Please, if you have any recommendation that is similar to this type of books, just let me know. I just love to read this. There's something about it, like every time that I hear a book is very weird or has like a weird type of narration, like House of Leaves, I'm just like, okay, I mean, don't worry, I'll read it ASAP. So please, if you have any recommendations, just let them down in the comments below. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.